And welcome back. We're picking up where we left off last time at the end of round 31 in Shadow Empires. This is the beginning of the third stream on a map provided by a community member that their Reddit username should be in the title, either on YouTube or on Twitch. I think they have a different username on YouTube and different username on the Slytherin forums, so they've got different names or various places. But the one from Reddit, which is where well, technically I followed a link there to the Slytherin forums where they've got different names. It's from that view. Obviously, we're 31 turns in here. Things are going a little slow. Part of that is due to the game speed. I think we're on like epic slow game speed. So the development is being a little bit slow. We got some rebels, so we're going to put the rebels down probably for the next couple turns, and then we're going to probably try to calcify the battle lines for a little while so we can find something to deal with tanks with. Our militia bazookas have at this point been destroyed. So we've got some irregular artillery over there, some regular artillery over here, and some irregular artillery over here. But really, that's all we've got that can really fight armored vehicles. And that artillery alone is going to be enough. I think we need, or the irregular artillery alone is not going to be enough. So that means we need to get, go to types, probably those for those. We have a design council, so we just need to get the design council time to find either light tank, artillery, or bazooka. And then we can develop one of those, and that will solve our anti-tank capacity, at least for the short term. Other than that, we're just handling replacements as they come up. And right now we are in last, although we're not terribly in last. We've got a victory score of 1.5. The farthest any of the AIs have gotten is 5.3. They have to get to 50% to win. So we're not worried about losing by someone else winning. We're going to be a little worried about losing to someone, taking the one and only city we have. That's a believable concern. These guys are kind of SOL, I think. I forgot about dealing with the militia. Get a little more info that way. Okay, so that actually has told us something unusual. Surviving AI control territory all the way down to this asset. And from earlier, we know this asset's near. The asset's not showing, but there's some refugee camps down here that we may want to link up with at some point in the future. Okay, so let's, unless we've pulled a leader, and we likely haven't, and we probably would have played it already if we did. I think we're ready to cycle the turn here and see how things evolve going forward. Again, we did have a rebellion. It's just regular infantry, so it shouldn't be too hard to grind down. And then we just want to recalcify our lines, mainly to keep the surviving AI out. The surviving AI should, well, they're not like robotic infantry like we'd get, so they are equally good on attack and defense. But they're not, other than the fact that they are actively hostile with us right now, they're not actually hostile. The surviving AIs go full, we want to kill you once you reach a certain tech level. And I believe we're still at tech level 3. Still at the base tech level. So the surviving AI, other than completely being disrespectful to our borders, is not out to kill us. So we're mainly worried about the slavers. The slavers have some tanks. We develop some anti-tank weapons, and we will be golden. And now we wait for the interns. Again, if everything's going according to plan, this should be a boring intern. The only units that are likely to make a run towards the capital might be the rebels. We do have a small garrison in the capital. It's technically an HQ section, so it really shouldn't be fighting, but it will probably delay a unit, especially one that's had as many action points burnt out as the rebels would be if they try to run for it. The rebels have also been attacked this turn, so they're likely have poor readiness due to being attacked. It just didn't quite have the firepower to get them to surrender. In fact, I don't think we had particularly great firepower going into the attack anyway. I think they were like 20 strength and they're now 17 strength after the attack, so. Although we're bringing in a mechanized attack is what that's technically classed as. The mechanized group might do decent. And in some ways well, we don't necessarily have the correct equipment to deal with the slavers. The most dangerous assets to the slavers have probably already been committed, because most of their territory is mountains. The dangerous stuff is tanks and armored cars, so it would have actually been stuck on this side of the territory anyway. On the east, and same sort of thing for the north one. So once we figure out anti-tank weapons, as long as we don't run out of resources, in particular metal, before we secure a method of mining metal, we should be good to go for the run. At this point, I think I've kind of better things to say until at least our neighbors have their turn. A lot of the intern, we already know there's another 10 majors on this map, for example. So there's like 10 majors. There's probably like 2 to 3 to 4 minors per major. So the interns are initially probably going to get smaller or shorter and shorter and shorter as we slowly work through the backlog of factions getting killed. But a lot of the end turn, we're not going to see anything happening because the majority of it's not happening next to us. Seeing a very small amount of movement off of the mutants. There comes some slavers. We don't hold, so that's a little concerning. Although that's more than 3 hexes away from the place we want to hold. So it's concerning, but it's not a problem. Hello, Twitch chat. How's it going? We've only just started, so it hasn't really had much time to go wrong. And I think we're in a position where things will potentially be able to be improved going forward. We gotta wait for the model designer to basically discover either artillery, bazookas, or tanks. But one of those should be able to unstuck the problem we're in. Is maybe a good way to think about it. And then the rebel should be fairly easy to deal with. Okay. Well, I hope I make good background entertainment for you then. Okay, it looks like it's coming up on our turn. We'll stay at round 32. We lost 200 infantry over the end turn, and we have 4 decisions awaiting us. One of those were professional troops, and one was militia. Okay. So we do want to get rid of the rebels. We're looking at a annoyingly balanced fight here. I do want to pull more of these forces in. Yeah, so... Well, either way, I can't bring them in. They're not gonna join the fight this turn. So let's take that fight, and we'll figure out whether we dealt with rebels or not. As Twitch chat says, will be costly. They're going to have to go. Yeah.
Requesting backup.
Looks like no success getting rid of them this turn. Although we got, I suppose it's going to be easier to count. The tooltip isn't popping up right away. 4 of them are destroyed. Looks like from a readiness standpoint, we've almost completely annihilated the readiness, so they likely won't counterattack this turn. And then in exchange, we took heavier losses. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, it looks like. 6. Okay, miscounted. Okay, so we've deployed or queued up our replacements, which should deploy incident with the firing of a popular subject. Well, we're pro merit. Of course, the director of the military council's pissed. So the question is, do we appease him, or do we oppose him? And at this point, I think we're gonna oppose him. Just punish him for it. And then yeah, that's the balance we're gonna run there.
Sir, yes, sir.
And we still don't. In fact, both the Supreme Command Council and the Interior Counselor are without leader. So I believe we technically have... What's our organization looking like cabinet-wise? We got an advisor. We got a secretary. So I'm actually going to tell the advisor.
Standing by for orders.
I'm actually going to relieve you of your job. With the offer of a better job. I'm assuming advisor is not considered a pretty high-level job. So we can get him a better job.
Yes, sir.
And then we're going to go... and I'm probably going to do the same to the secretary. I'm probably going to ask the secretary to quit, so we can potentially get him another job. Sort of a way to squeeze some more out of our personnel pool. I'm not so sure I can do that with the secretary. You've got some science. You've got some covert ops. Not particularly good at anything. Although you're considered pretty good for the Supreme Command Council, so we're putting in charge of the Supreme Command Council.
Yes, sir.
Honored with the trust, sir. I'll need some time to take over the helm here, but expect it to be in full charge very soon. And he did manage to get plus 15 opinion. So I think that might have actually been a plus 16 opinion swing on the advisor here, moving in charge of the Supreme Command Council. And the other person is you.
Standing
and
by.
I ask you to be relieved.
Sir, yes, sir.
And again, I'm gonna assume that this is considered a better job for you. I may be wrong.
Sir, yes, sir.
Operation improved by 1. No decline because they think they're about to get a better job. You have a technician, you have an inventor, so you're actually pretty decent for this job, so we'll point
Sir,
you.
yes, sir.
Anyway, they gained approval. So plus 11, so I think it was net plus 12 approval there. And we now, in theory, have no vacancies. Well, I suppose technically we have a vacancy in an advisor spot. We have no advisor. And what I was kind of taking advantage of there is that your secretary is always auto-replaced. So if you relieve your secretary and assign him to a different job, a new person will spawn to be your secretary. So that's one way if you're really desperate for leaders to pop some leaders into existence. It is expensive. It did cost us like 32 to relieve the secretary to give him a different job.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to attach these free Mystic
Yes, sir.
Priests to some of our
Yes,
battalions.
sir.
And then I'm going to desperately need more bullets. The rest of our industry is going into
will
bullet
go.
making. And then, yeah, I think this is actually open terrain. We don't know what the slavers are bringing in to hit us hard with. They were able to push this unit back at least. I think they pushed 2 units back. I think they pushed this unit and this unit back. We're able to at least push it out of the savannah. The grassy plains here are even worse defensive posturing. So we're actually just going to pull this unit all the way back to this location. If the slavers want to come in and take these hexes, they can, and I can counterattack them in the plains. This is still more than 3 hexes away from the town, so I don't mind them taking that hex. Unrest is stable due to crime. Danger is declining. Annoyingly, population happiness is declining. Due to the high war casualties. Yeah, there's nothing I can do really to solve that. Okay, so with that, let's go ahead and cycle the turn. Hopefully we don't end up in a crash, civilian side, a crash. That may happen if we drop below 50% loyalty. So we can see that we definitely did get a good swing against the rebels. On this map, the rebels' readiness is being reported as 4. So they of course, over the intern, they are going to regain some readiness. We got them down to, like, I think 2 in the battle, so they're back up to 4. When we come in again, the low readiness should hamper them, and hopefully won't take too bad of casualties. And then we need to learn the trick of not taking casualties, hopefully, so the civilians can calm down. Also, I suppose slightly worried. We got a couple leaders who are a little grumpy. So we may get another one joining the rebellion. Okay, so the slavers taking that hex was not unexpected. We definitely know there's a bunch of slavers there. There may potentially have abandoned the hex we probably want from them, in which case that means we can form a stiffer front line where we want to be. Get attacked. We're taking a bunch of losses from sentinels attacking. Although, other than that, it wasn't too much of a problem, apparently. I don't know if that's repeated battles back to back to back. I don't think it is. I think it's the same battle that's flashing up. So I think we lost 200 infantry, but 200 infantry isn't that bad. We're making 500 a turn. Although maybe giving up that hex is a bit more annoying. Okay, we're going to attack with the rifle militia and hold firm. And I think it's back to us. Here we go. Over the end turn, we killed 100 infantry and we lost 300, so we're now at the bottom of round 33, and we have 3 decisions winning us. You're asking for security cooperation. I think we're actually going to say no. We don't necessarily want it to raise the enforcement ratings here. Favoring design, even though we're not designing anything right now. Offer to buy slaves. We do, if we can afford to, want to be able to buy these slaves. Let's sell off all the metal that the market will buy.
Wilco.
And that gives us the ability to afford the slaves, which sadly is reducing our meritocracy. Okay. I want that hex back. I do want to attempt to get this encirclement to end.
Requesting backup.
No dice. In fact, it was worse than last time, so there's only 3 holding out. Although we attacked from one left flank than last time. I don't think this guy participated in the attack this time. We're gonna kind of phase check this hex. Hex is in fact empty. Okay. Placements going into the troops. Another 9 GIs are to be recruited and sent out. And then again, the rest of the industry is going to go into bullets.
Wilco.
I'm not sure if we're going to have 15 cards worth things to trash. Oh yeah, doubly, because those are worth nothing apparently. Okay. Okay, so I think that's going to be the turn. Decisions weren't too bad. We got one of the hexes we wanted. Population happiness is actually going up. So apparently, we still have high short-term casualties. Just we're uptrending this turn instead of downtrending. Although we don't have much space in loyalty, so we'll have to be careful. And yeah, short-term casualties are over 1%, which is... and that's the average over 3 turns. Average over 2 turns, or 20 turns. I think it's 20 turns, or is it 10 turns? Of course, the tooltip doesn't want to come up now. Come on. You can do it. Nope. Oh, if I right-click, the tooltip comes up. Long term, so yeah, over the last 20 turns. So, we've definitely been losing troops since we've been dealing with the rebels faster than comfortable. And comfortable is probably the operative word there. Cycling the turn. We'll definitely be much happier once we get rid of the rebels. If for no other reason, then we could probably pull back a little bit. I think technically the rebels are also annoyingly holding one of my bridges, which is affecting the supply in the south. Or at least hold their end of the bridge. I think the bridge is going into that hex. So it's affecting the supply trying to cross over the river there. So we're having to go out over the river, through the fort, or through the jungle to get to the troops, which is not good for supply. That's probably actually one of the reasons why the guy down south has his struggle trying to hold. And that may be repeat, depends upon if the AI decides to attack again. No visible action yet, but I don't think we've hit the slaver and or the AI turn. And I think the rebels go last, to be fair. Okay, so that's not super good. That's the mutants taking one of our more valuable hexes. And we lost that hex again. Okay, so lost one hex we'd prefer not losing. We lost, looks like 100 soldiers to the AI, which is a annoying problem, but not too bad. As long as the rebels didn't take that hex, we'll probably just accept that hex has been lost for the moment and not try to retake it. The reason I moved into it last time is it got handed over to the rebels. So if we did win the Battle of the Rebels in the rebels routing, the rebels would have actually routed towards the AI, which I didn't want. I would prefer them surrendering, not routing. And here we are. Beginning of the turn, Solus State, round 34. We killed as many as we lost, although we lost the 100 to the AI, and we killed the 100 of, I think, the Rifle Militia for the non-aligned in the northwest. We have one decision awaiting us. And we failed to keep our word on that. Slave trader event. A sinister trader that comes to the Wasteland shop just outside town. His trade is trading humans. He's a slave trader. So I can pay 300 credits and get... Or I can sell 2,000 people to get 300 credits. I can spend 600 credits to get 2,000. I can ignore him. I can try to tax him, although that would end badly. Or try to get rid of him, which would also likely end badly. Can I pull the money out of my hair? Possibly. I probably actually can get away with burning that fuel, so let's sell that fuel.
We'll go.
And we'll use it to get more people.
Copy that.
Oh, and of course that hits the population items. That would have been a better thing to pay attention to earlier. So we're below 50. We need to get back over 50 soon. We may start having some bad events. Can we get rid of the rebels here? No, and it's getting worse, which is a bad sign.
Wilco.
Sir, yes, sir.
That gets a little bit more revenue. Did I press the wrong one? I pressed the wrong one. I totally pressed the wrong one. I sold people instead of buying people. Yes, I pushed the wrong one. Oh, that was a mistake. That's probably why people are pissed off. Let's be fair. That makes sense.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, we're gonna cycle the turn. We're gonna see if we start getting some bad events because we're now below 50 happiness and we're likely to go below 50 loyalty on the next turn. And yeah, we're getting worse and worse at fighting these rebels. So if we can't get rid of them soon and the loyalty continue, or the situation doesn't improve, then we will probably basically be boned, and it will probably be the end of the run. We'll see where we get. Okay, coming up on the slave return. So there's the slavers moving, not being an apparent problem. Okay, there's the AI. Again, not exactly a problem. They're not attacking us. Yeah. There's our rebels. The rebels, of course, we've been attacking them every turn, so don't have the readiness to do an attack of their own. We have brought in an additional fresh units. We'll see if we can get them to collapse this turn. If they don't, I think we may be in a situation, because the loyalty is going to drop more, so we may be at the point where the rebels are going to start growing and become a problem. Although it didn't look like it didn't look like the rebels were last, so I wouldn't actually be completely unsurprised if we weren't the only nation dealing with rebels. We suffer no losses nor made kills, so that's good. We have 6 decisions awaiting us, round 35. Incident with lack of action. I think we're going to punish the leader. This is more likely to get their leader to rebel, but... You wanted to rise from 1.5 to 5.3. I'm going to say no, because I don't think that's happening in that many rounds.
Wilco.
So that pisses the lowers meritocracy, that pisses off the armed front. I don't want enforcement. I don't think we can afford any of those, so
Yes,
we're going to
sir.
stay vague, which lowers our word score anyway, although it's better than failing. At this point, I don't think I necessarily need the taxation as much. We'll put taxation around, like, 4, let's say. Do something like that.
Sir, yes, sir.
Independent action. I can send the troops, or I can investigate who did it. The highest we can get is 155. The average we gotta hit is 146. So, more likely than not, we're gonna fail if we do the roll. Do want to do the roll, but we're gonna have to take the autocracy choice here, because that's just gonna fail, and I don't think we can tolerate more unrest. Although, at this point, I think we may be running into the point where the city is just gonna spiral into non-functionality.
Copy that.
Send to the soldiers. Troops failed to quell the agitators, so unrest goes to plus 50, fear plus 20. 20 agitators are killed. The rebel manpower is growing. Yeah, I think we're potentially spiraling out of control. We shall see. And again, we need the rebels. We need the rebels that are already on the map destroyed, so we can hopefully stem the bleeding at least temporarily. Okay, that badge finally surrendered. let's take that mercenary leader.
Sir,
So
yes,
we've
sir.
got a replacement in case one of our leaders rebels. We've queued up the replacements to go out, although most of the depleted units are actually from militia at this point. Then go take that hex back, get some guys in the city to finally put the rebels down, or put the crime organization down. Then we may be able to recover. The question is, are we going to recover in time before... Hopefully this doesn't spiral into terrible stuff. We're going to start getting worse and worse events now that we're about to drop below 50 loyalty, and I am almost certainly expecting we are going to drop below 50 loyalty. Okay. Do I want to build more bullets? No, I'm going to be conservative this turn. I want to try saving up for various buildings. We need industry for that. And hopefully the amount of shooting our units is going to be doing going forward, it should hopefully go down. Although, we haven't necessarily had the best of luck with that. And I wouldn't necessarily rule out us getting a second rebellion at this point. Executing escape front. I'm going to assume that one of the other majors is not necessarily having the best of days if they've got escape fronts they need to calculate. Okay, this is looking like this is likely to be the last end turn of this part. If you're watching on YouTube, there probably will be another part up tomorrow, because I think we're probably going to record one more part, at least one more part, The plan, obviously, is to record 4 parts tonight, but we'll see if situations worsen or improve. It wouldn't take very much more worsening to get this to be a state where I don't think we're going to recover from. But as long as we don't hit that, we're gonna try to recover. And if you're watching on Twitch, during the hour I've completely drank an entire cup of tea, which is a little bit faster than normal, so I'm going to be replacing the cup of tea. So it'll be a little bit longer break than normal as I go to make a replacement cup of tea. So we should be coming up on the slavers and the AI. The AI is probably one of the things that could put a real hard nail in this. Because the slavers don't feel like look like they don't feel like attacking us, but the AI every once in a while is just taking swings. And at the moment our troops just lack the anti-tank capacity to deal with the robots. Okay, I think we are at least surviving the turn. Yeah, looks like we're coming up on the end of this end turn. We lost a lot of the surplus to requirement hexes, let's say. We'd like to be holding those because those are opportunities to potentially find things like iron, or find more metal, find rare earth metals, that sort of stuff, which is something we're going to need to find for the long run. For the short run, which is just pure survival, we are still intact. We have 6 decisions awaiting us on round 36 when we come back from the break. If you're watching on YouTube, once again, there will be a part up tomorrow. We're going to record at least... We're basically going to record until either the situation completely collapses to a state where I don't think we can come back from, which we haven't quite hit yet, or until we've recorded 4 parts. If you're watching on Twitch, feel free to hang around. I will be back as soon as that cup of tea is replaced. So until the next part, I wish you all the best of luck and a good time. Catch you all in the next part, and bye for now.